It's the 26th day of January 2024. Thank you for joining us on NTV Weekend Edition. We have a lot for you on this day when the courts were not too favorable to the executive. We start with the highlights. Unconstitutional. Court of Appeal hurls Ruto's housing levy towards the graveyard. Workers' unions demand a refund as employers also throw in their weight.
Housing levy gone.
Also tonight,
further action or steps taken by any state organ or state officer in furtherance of such decision contravene the Constitution and the law and is therefore unconstitutional, illegal and invalid.
Another government illegality stopped. We tell you why the courts have ruled the president cannot deploy police officers to international peace missions, in this case, the mission to Haiti. Plus,
for whatever reason, a woman should not die.
Another woman brutalized to death. Women and activists want femicide declared a national emergency. And
there's a loophole. You can actually regulate the product, but now the practice, maybe people are having a lot of malpractice.
The divide on preference between traditional and modern medicine.
Many traditional practitioners, for instance, practice it because it is knowledge that they acquired maybe from their forefathers.
The matter our news court is being treated to tonight.
Live from Nation Center, this is Weekend Edition with Dan Mwangi.
Welcome to the bulletin. Alongside me tonight on sign language interpretation is Flora Atieno. The ruling by the Court of Appeal refusing to temporarily set aside the nullity of the housing levy by the High Court sends the Kenya Kwanza government back to the drawing board. The government either fast-tracks the process for the proposed affordable housing bill currently on public participation or escalates its appeal for a temporary stay at the Supreme Court. NTV's Ibrahim Karanja reports whichever option they take, your payslip is safe, at least for now.
Your January 2024 payslip is protected from the 1.5% housing levy tax if you're a salaried individual and yet to receive your pay. That is the true meaning of the decision of the Court of Appeal Friday, which dealt a blow to 4 consolidated petitions seeking to save some sections of the Finance Act 2023 from a November 2023 High Court ruling that found them unconstitutional. President William Ruto, speaking in Meru, already indicating that his administration will appeal the decision, vowing to continue with his affordable housing project.
We are already making the law that the court authorized that we go and make the law. They should have given us a chance to complete the law, but we are going to complete the law and we are going to go forward with making sure that we create opportunities for jobs for the young people of our country.
In Parliament, we shall also be expeditious in dispensing with that law and giving you a new law.
With no control over the period the Supreme Court will determine the appeal for a stay should the government file one, fast-tracking the process. The proposed affordable housing bill currently on the public participation stage remains the only viable option for Ruto in aligning the levy with the Constitution.
And if the expediting happens, then we may see a special sitting of the National Assembly aimed at unlocking the stalemate sooner than their scheduled February 13th return. Ibrahim Karanja, NTV.
The Federation of Kenya Employers, FKE, has warned its members not to deduct the housing levy from payslips following the Court of Appeal's ruling that dismissed its reinstatement. FKE says it is keen to monitor the development of the matter and advise members accordingly. Similarly, trade unions have lauded the court for stopping the housing levy, and leaders of public sector trade unions now want the housing levy deductions refunded immediately.
We demand all house levy deductions to be refunded with interest immediately. We demand the costs to be respected by the employers just like the employees do. Any employer, person or entities who deduct this illegal tax from the worker's salary will bear individual responsibility. And the unions shall also use its only weapon that employers understand: withdrawals of services and also acting on contempt individually to the employers.
Today is a wonderful day. Housing levy gone.
And we are not going to allow you to continue deducting.
President William Ruto has suffered another blow in court, and at this rate, you could say for the umpteenth time. The High Court Friday stopped his plan to deploy 1,000 police officers to Haiti for peacekeeping mission. The court ruled that the National Security Council has no legal authority to send police officers outside the country. NTV's Vincent Odor tells us more.
President William Ruto's much-touted United Nations-backed plan to send 1,000 police officers to the conflict-raged Haiti has hit a wall. High Court Judge Chacha Mwita has ruled that the Constitution only allows the Kenya Defense Forces to be deployed outside Kenya for peace missions. In his judgment, Mwita says the National Police Service does not fall under the category of defense forces and therefore cannot be deployed to Haiti.
An order is hereby issued prohibiting deployment of police officers to Haiti or any other country otherwise than in compliance with Part 14, that is Sections 107 and 108 of the National Police Service Act. 2. A declaration is hereby issued that National Security Council has no mandate to deploy police officers outside Kenya under Article 240, Sub-Article 8 of the Constitution or any other law.
The judge also ruled that there was no reciprocal agreement signed between Kenya and Haiti over the mission.
Any decision by any state organ or state officer to deploy police officers to Haiti and any other action, any further action or steps taken by any state organ or state officer in furtherance of such decision contravenes the Constitution and the law and is therefore unconstitutional, illegal and invalid.
In July last year, President Ruto had offered to deploy police officers to Haiti to curb insecurity, fight gangs and restore peace. A position that was later approved by the United Nations Security Council and later approved by the National Assembly. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Now, Kenyans seeking medical services under the new Social Health Insurance Fund will have to first seek treatment from a level 2 or 3 facility unless it is an emergency situation. Treatment from level 4, 5 and 6 and which will only be accessed through a referral from a primary health facility. Here now is the health insurance scheme as has been broken down into 3 different categories. Now, first and foremost, remember this is among the matters that have been of public concern. First and foremost, we have the Primary Health Care Fund. Then we have the Social Health Insurance Fund, SHIF, which has been one of the most spoken about. Then we have the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund, which is the 3rd category in the Social Insurance Fund. Now, the next thing is the Primary Health Care Fund. To just break it down, first, every person who is resident in Kenya shall access healthcare services, and one must be registered under the SHIF to get services. Access to level 2 or 3 healthcare facilities is also one of the things that you will be entitled to under the Primary Health Care Fund. Now, let's move to the next thing, which is the Primary Health Care Fund. Services include 1, promotive services, preventive, curative, rehabilitative, palliative care, and referral services. These are what are available under the Primary Health Care Fund. Now, the next thing is the Social Health Insurance Fund, SHIF. Now, under this, we have will be accessed on referral from primary healthcare facilities, that's level 2 or 3. Then we have services provided by level 4, 5, and 6 health facilities, and mandatory registration is part of what is expected of you under the Social Health Insurance Fund. Now, number 2, still under SHIF, each beneficiary will acquire a social health insurance number. Then the contributor may list beneficiaries in the application form, and persons registered under SHIF shall be required to register afresh. So this is still under SHIF. Now, number 3 Still on Schiff, newborns are to be registered within 14 days. Then the child's biometrics shall be collected at the age of 7 years, and statutory deduction at the rate of 2.7% of the gross salary or household income is also one of the factors to bear in mind when you speak about the Social Health Insurance Fund. Now, aside from that, we have minimum contributions of 300 shillings per month, and this is for those especially who are not under payslip category. A person shall be treated as a household upon attaining 25 years, and a beneficiary shall be deregistered upon death. That is SHIF. And then we have the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund, that's ECCIF. And this is the provision of emergency services and critical care, something that you're entitled to under that. Then we have treatment of chronic and critical illnesses. Then it is offered to all beneficiaries of SHIF, that's the Social Health Insurance Fund. And beneficiaries suffering from a chronic ailment shall transition to this fund upon depletion of the SHIF, and that is the Emergency, Chronic and Critical Illness Fund, ECCIF. Now, the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM, has put Attorney General Justin Muturi on the spot over a letter reinstating ousted officials of the body. A letter dated January 23, 2023, from the Registrar of Societies indicates that Yusuf Abdurrahman Zibo was still SUPKEM's chairman as per the 2017 records. The leaders, however, reiterated their support for their current chairman, Olenado, who they said is the known SUPKEM chairman. Rosa Ngoi has more details.
The leadership dispute of the Supreme Council of Kenya Muslims, SUPKEM, continues to simmer. A section of leaders today marched to the SUPKEM offices. Carrying placards, Dr. Yusuf Nzibo and his supporters wanted to take over the SUPKEM offices and blamed Chairperson Hassan Olenado for locking the office and running away with the keys. They said that Olenado is illegally in office subject to the recent letter from the Registrar of Societies.
Registrar ameishu barua kusema kuwa mimi ni legal chairman na nitarudi ofisini. Kwa hivyo tunasema we will come back escorted by the security organs to take over the office legally.
SUPKEM has been embroiled in leadership wrangles for the last 5 years, as a section of members say. The chairperson Hassan Olenado is not legally in office since the last elections were held in 2017. Dr. Nzibo, former diplomat, was elected in October 2017 for a 5-year term, was suspended in 2019 on allegations of bad leadership, corruption and division among Muslim faithful across the country. Upon removal, Nzibo moved to court to challenge the decision.
After 4-year struggle, he has been in court because of what has happened here. Some people mejieka ati wao ndio national chairman and they don't feature in government records. But because we are religious people, we followed the court process. They have refused arbitration.
And being accused kuwa nimekula pesa za haji na hata nduru na pia mbele Mwenyezi Mungu hakuna senti hata moja nimechukua ya Waislamu. Na anybody can come and attest to that.
In a press briefing this afternoon, the council, through its national deputy chairman, Sharif Muhtar, said that the ongoing leadership wrangles would not be happening if the Attorney General had handled their case appropriately.
Na tumekuja kwa sababu ya jambo moja tu ambalo kwamba limetukasirisha, limetuudhi, limetusononesha.
Tuamwambia Attorney General kwamba ofisi yake isitumiwe kiholela. Leo watu wangemwagika damu hapa kwa sababu ya mtu mmoja ametoa kitu urongo ambao kwamba hauna msingi. Barua haina kichwa, haina miguu.
SUPKEM has also distanced itself from claims by Nzibo that he is the national chair of the council.
The leadership of the Supreme Council has instructed our lawyers to initiate a contempt of court proceedings against Mr. Nzibo.
Ruzongwe, NTV.
Now, the High Court has once again postponed the delivery of judgment in a case where journalist Jackie Maribe and her co-accused Joseph Irungu to appear in court on 15th March this year for the delivery of the judgment. This is the third time the delivery of judgment for this murder case is being postponed. The two are facing charges for murder of businesswoman Monica Kimani in September 2018. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, that's EACC, has recovered 6 prime government properties valued at 85 million shillings. EACC says the properties had been grabbed by private individuals. The recovered properties, which include parcels of land and government buildings, are in Milimani Estate in Kakamega Town. One of the grabbed properties is the land hosting the official residence of the Deputy County Commissioner of Kakamega East, and whose title deed was registered under a private individual, making the government official a squatter on the government land. The court has since nullified the titles for the 6 properties held by private individuals and ordered the Kakamega Land Registrar to issue new title deeds in the name of government before EACC hands them over to the State Department for Housing. EACC says Kakamega County is among the counties with high prevalence of land grabbing. The commission is pursuing another 20 parcels of land allegedly grabbed in Kakamega County, it says. Now on to a story that has been among the issues and biggest things that's been in the news headlines and just in public conversations, and this is matter of femicide and killing of women at large. Now, police in Nyeri County are investigating the death of an unidentified middle-aged woman whose mutilated body was found in a thicket in Kiharu village, Mukurweini sub-county. This comes even as women held demonstrations in Nyeri against the rising cases of femicide. The women called on the government to declare femicide a national emergency and include it as a distinct criminal offense in the country's penal code. Margaret Kimathi has that story, which is not going to go anywhere anytime soon because more protests are expected in the country, including tomorrow.
Mukurweini Sub-County Police Commander Beatrice Nyaga says that the woman's face was disfigured while her body had bruises on her neck and thighs. In addition, one of her arms was broken, indicating that she was in a temporary struggle with the perpetrator or perpetrators who murdered her. A preliminary medical report indicates that the middle-aged woman was sodomized before she was killed. The body was moved to Mukurweini Sub-County mortuary, awaiting post-mortem. This is the latest case of brutal murder of women, as the police are investigating several others, including the death of Rita Waeni, whose dismembered body was found at an apartment on TRM Drive in Nairobi. This situation has angered human rights defenders, especially women. Hundreds of women in Nyeri County held a peaceful protest to protest against brutal attacks and murders.
I'm here today to say no to femicide, that no one deserves to die, that women's life matter just as much as everyone's life, and so for whatever reason, a woman should not die.
Please do not normalize femicides. Femicide cases are on the rise, and it's very important that we speak about it and we call out those perpetrators of femicides because it is not normal.
Statistics from Africa Data Hub shows that femicide is not just a 2024 problem, but there have been more than 500 cases reported since 2016. 245 of them were of women who had been killed by their husbands at home.
So hii kitu mnasema ati it's not an Airbnb issue. If 245 have been murdered in their homes by their husbands, what are we saying? It's not a moral issue. It's a human rights issue. And women have a right to life. We are not begging, we are demanding, and we are stating that you will stop killing women.
No more killing! The nationwide protest will continue tomorrow in Eldoret, Nakuru, Machakos, and Nairobi counties. Margaret Kimathi, NTV.
May justice prevail for all those who have been killed and those who have been bereaved as well. We take a short break on NTV Weekend Edition, but coming up, we tell you how the Capital Markets Authority's plans to revitalize shares trading on the Nairobi Securities Exchange are coming along.
Welcome to the Delight Nakuru, brought to you by Username Investments. Perfect for your dream home investment for holiday home, going only for 799,000 shillings for an eighth of an acre. SMS Nakuru to 20321 or call 0725 000 222.
Sign up with a promo code and get a welcome bonus. OneXBet.
Panda tukupandishe on Go Entertainment this new year on GoTV bila kulipia extra. Kama uko on GoTV Lite, lipia GoTV Value. Utapata kufurahia GoTV Plus. Tayari on GoTV Value, then lipia GoTV Plus uenjoy GoTV Max. Kama wewe ni wa GoTV Plus, lipia GoTV Max ujinice na shows noma kabisa on GoTV Super. Furahia the best sports, international shows na local shows una like free. Download GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Niaje?
Wasa.
Nataka through 2000.
Sawa.
Nimeget airtime.
Airtel Money inakuokolea.
Really?
Yes.
Aje?
Ukiwithdraw chapa kwa Airtel Money agent inakurudishia hiyo transaction fee kama airtime.
Thank you.
Karibu.
Shosho. Chiko!
Nipotea. Angalia hapo kwa buchari kanjia kako hapo.
Oh!
Rudishiwa transaction fee kama airtime kila mara unapo-withdraw Airtel Money. Airtel Money makes your life kidogo better.
Haya, umesikia? Kwenye star 570 hash kashake kameiva. Shamba ni mili na zinangoja ushindi wako kwa Lucky Game. Na hii Aprili mshindi wa kwanza anavuka na shamba lake, na Mei tunamtangaza the grand winner wa shamba na lori ya mawe. Ni rahisi, kwenye star 570 hash kila shilingi 100 unaocheza nayo inakupa 1 entry point ya draw zote za shamba pekee na shamba na mawe. Vuka na shake, anza uchezi kwenye star 570 hash.
He has lived in over 38 countries and known far and wide for his signature style.
I started off in Europe and Central Asia.
Yes, this week on Daring Abroad, we feature former World Bank economist Dr. David Washira and how he's changing lives through his fintech company, Wire.
As an immigrant coming to the US, one of the biggest things that you struggle with is building credit. So we're coming in and changing that particular narrative.
From Uganda, how Nyandarua-born construction expert Kirori Shage is building a name for himself in Kampala.
Here, discipline level is very high. Registering a company takes a single day.
This Saturday at 7:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Join the Optivan family today and experience the epitome of coastal living at Ocean View Ridge, Vipingo by Optivan. Call us on 0790 300 300.
Optivan, Optivan.
Let's get down to business now. The Capital Markets Authority, CMA, is developing margin trading regulations as part of its regulator-led interventions to revitalize shares trading on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, NSE. Now, margin trading is a method of investing in shares using funds borrowed from lenders, mostly a stock brokerage or investment bank. According to the CMA, the NSE has continued to witness a prolonged period of low volatility despite low stock valuations, providing the opportunity for investors to purchase stocks at discounted prices, including through margin trading. Listed manufacturer East African Breweries Limited, EABL, bolstered its cash position in the half-year ended December 2023, closing the period under review with 10.7 billion shillings worth of cash compared to 4.2 billion shillings a year earlier. EABL has attributed this to strong performance in its revenue generation, with the company's sales having grown to 119 billion shillings compared to 104 billion shillings at the same time a year earlier. EABL grew its gross profit by 11% to 29.5 billion shillings, even as the 29.5 billion, even as the net earnings took a hit from the wild depreciation of the shilling, translating into a 22% decline to 6.8 billion shillings. EABL's share price plunged during Friday's trade following the decline in net earnings.
Considering the environment we've operated in, if you look at revenue, we're up 16%. Very strong performance in very tough times where we've seen consumer incomes reduce. We've seen people struggle to prioritize what to spend money on. So we're very proud of a 16% growth in income. From a profit perspective, we are equally proud. If you look at our operating profit before the impact of FX and interest costs, which are really a construct of the macro environment in which we are operating, that's actually 6%.
Well, that's it for NTV Business tonight, but still to come. We head to court next, where we shall interrogate conventional versus contemporary medicine on News Court.
Welcome to the Delight Nakuru, brought to you by Username Investments. Perfect for your dream home investment for holiday home, going only for 799,000 shillings for an eighth of an acre. SMS Nakuru to 20321 or call 0725 000 222.
Haya, umesikia kwenye star 570 hash kashake kameiva. Shamba ni mili na zinangoja ushindi wako kwa Lucky Game. Na hii Aprili mshindi wa kwanza anavuka na shamba lake, na Mei tunamtangaza the grand winner wa shamba na lori ya mawe. Ni rahisi, kwenye star 570 hash kila shilingi 100 unaocheza nayo inakupa 1 entry point ya draw zote za shamba pekee na shamba na mawe. Vuka na shake, anza uchezi kwenye star 570 hash.
It's Friday and things are looking a bit boring. Fanta. Submit to the fizziest of fizz. Surrender to a bubbly bliss. Fall for the tangiest of tangs. Succumb to the flavor frenzy. Fanta. Indulge with a sip and snack.
Stay 5 degrees cooler.
Body odor is caused by germs, and on active days, the sweating and odor are more. That's why you need the new improved Dettol Cool with up to 5 degrees instant cooling sensation and odor protection. Be Dettol sure.
Enjoy Premier Kettle 2 liter at 999 shillings. Rina vegetable oil 5 liters at 1,049 shillings. Fresh chicken leg quarter per kg 439 shillings. And grapes red pack 500 grams at 259 shillings. Furahia deals kibao kila wiki na Carrefour.
Sign up with a promo code and get a welcome bonus. 1xBet.
We begin with you, Justice Wanjiko, the Wananchi. Various Kenyans share their views on the matter before this honorable court, traditional versus modern medication. Arnold Kubira is a herbalist in the county of Kakamega.
He says that traditional medicine has been in his family across generations and shares his submissions before this court. Vitalis Ocheng is a senior program manager at TICA, which is the Trust for Indigenous Cultural and Health Organization. He is working with the government as well as the Herbalist Society of Kenya to address issues around herbal products. He believes in the strength of culture in realizing holistic community development. Dr. Wairimu Mbogo is a pharmacist with 14 years of experience in pharmaceutical distribution and operations and in community pharmacy. Dr. Pamela Nambwa is a pharmacovigilance expert at the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, and she'll be sharing the position of the government.
Justice Wanjiko, the people of the Great Republic of Kenya presiding. The Court of Public Interest, News Court, is in session. The matter before you is that of medication. Are we in a safe enough place when it comes to one's choice of medication? Your Honor, some of you prefer traditional medicine. Others are also at home with prescription medicine, which in some cases is termed as modern medicine. This is a matter of concern as, for instance, some people have taken traditional meds and gotten well. Others have gotten worse in devastating ways. How should you, Wanjiko, know when to go for the herbal medicines or the prescription ones, or go to your village traditional healer? Are all these legal? And what is being done about any illegalities? Let's prosecute our opening submissions.
Dawa za kienyeji na dawa za kisasa. Dawa za kienyeji is number one. Kwa sababu dawa ya kienyeji haina side effect. Lakini hizi dawa ambazo tunapata kwa hospitali ina side effect, kwa sababu ukisitumia sana itakuja kudhuru moyo yako.
According to my age na kulingana na venye technology inaenda, mimi sijai tumia hizo dawa. Na kuongea ukweli, saa hizi tukisema ati tuende mitishamba, the mitishamba tutakuwa tunajikosea sana. Saa hizi technology tunaona venye inakuja. Technology imeenda ikigrow na we live by technology. So ningeomba tu venye dawa za miti, sisemi mwenye natumia ni mbaya, lakini saizi venye technology iko haituruhusu.
Most people, they thought that we are wicked, we are doing witchcraft, so they prefer to go to the scientific medicine to use them. Yeah, the trust, it is not 100%. Even these the ones that are called scientific drugs, they come from these herbs. So that is, I prefer herbs.
Dawa za kienyeji mimi sizijui, na mimi naamini hizi zingine ambazo zimekubalishwa na help na poisoning powder, hizo ndizo naamini, sijui hizi zingine.
Kusema kweli, haya madawa madukani sahihi si mengi yanasaidia. Maana utakunywa leo inapungua kidogo, kesho tena inaamka. So madawa kienyeji pia yanasaidia. Kienyeji is the best.
Madawa ya kienyeji ni bora sana kuliko hii madawa ya kununua hospitalini. Ningeomba kwamba hii madawa ya kienyeji watu wakuwa wanapata mafundisho, au watu wenye wanajua hizi madawa za kienyeji wapewe mafundisho, na watu wengi kwamba waingie kuzoea kwamba hii dawa ya kienyeji wao wakijua hata ukiwa nayo unaweza jitibu mwenyewe, si lazima uende hospitalini.
Justice Wanjiko, weeks ago I produced a story that was dumbfounding. The special feature, Agony of Abortion, showed how some women in Kakamega County procured abortions using traditional methods, specifically drinking what they were told were traditional medicines. But the outcome was the permanent inability to get pregnant.
Baada hiyo kitu kutoka, hiyo mimba kutoka, ilitoka na uterus. So since 2012 sijawahi pata mtoto up to now. Nilijaribu, hata mzee mwenyewe alijaribu mbinu zote, lakini ikashindikana.
Your Honor, I submit that unconventional methods of treatment are a factor of hope and the lack of it, the hope for healing and the hopelessness caused by failed attempts. This has been a recipe for big business opportunities, you know. We then see posters and signages advertising the services of people who call themselves traditional healers, or others who say they are waganga, as they are referred to in Kiswahili. Some claim they can heal even things that are not illnesses. While to some it may be outrightly ridiculous, the desperation of some people leads them into what are con games. Sadly, the sick get swindled. Double tragedy.
My lords and ladyships, many Kenyans are also using various herbal options in treating their illnesses. I submit before this court the input of a herbalist.
Mimi, I'm true.
ninafanya kazi kwa muda, ni kazi kwetu nyumbani. Nitibu wakali cha moja hapo kwa Must, akapona akaniambia, "Vile unatibu na parua?" Kaambia, mimi sina parua. Hapana, dawa yako imenisaidia, ndio kusaidia uende upate parua kwa serikali, uwe ukitibu kama una parua. Yeye ndiye alifanya nikapata parua. Madawa hii tunajaribu sana vile kuponesha watu wakipona wanakucha. Kuna ugonjwa mwingine kwa hospitali ni ngumu kutibu. Kikuja kwa sisi tunapata dawa inatibiwa na kienyeji na tibu na kienyeji. Matibabu yetu hatusui wengine wasitibu. Kutibu ni kazi mzuri. Uchawi tena bado ni kienyeji tu. Uchawi si kutengeneza, uchawi ni kuharibu. Uchawi hiyo kutibu kuroka mtu ni kuharibu. Na watu wengine wanatibu dawa ya kienyeji. Wengi tiba yao wanga tofauti na wengine. Inaweza kutibiwa ama yokuja hiyo ikihusika na hospitali inaweza kutibu. Kanza pato tunatafuta dawa yake. Hata sisi wa kienyeji hatujapata dawa ya kanza vizuri. Na daktari wa kienyeji akitibu wote dawa si sawa. Na mwingine dawa yake hawezi kuponesha kwa maana haielewi. Sasa mtu ambaye anatumia dawa ya kienyeji ya hospitali asiweke pamoja, kwa kuwa hiyo dawa inapomzuri yote mbili, hata jua ni hospitali ni mzuri, hata jua ni kienyeji ni mzuri. Ukiona ile kwa kienyeji, tumia hiyo kienyeji tu, usikize inaenda mlakani. Kama unaona haiendi mzuri, tulia tena kwa hospitali. Tumia hospitali, usikize inaenda na mlakani. Uzuri wa hospitali nayo upima tamu, upima hata mkocho, upima nini, ndio inatushindiaga vipimo hivyo. Ndio vinatushindia, ndio nakwambia kama wewe daktari yeye mzuri, mwambie mtu kwa hospitali wakupime. Akija kukupima uje uniambie. Kwa maana kuna kwenye hii mjificha ndani ambayo sijui daktari akisema kwenye fulani, basi nitakwambia kwenye ndatibu.
Nothing further. Much obliged.
Enjoy Premier Kettle 2 liter at 999 shillings. Rina vegetable oil 5 liters at 1,049 shillings. Fresh chicken leg quarter per kg 439 shillings. And grapes red pack 500 grams at 259 shillings. Furahia deals kibao kila wiki na Carrefour.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. The kind that gives you access to a good range of insurance solutions from a good variety of insurance partners at good affordable premiums. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
New Nivea Luminous visibly reduces dark spots. Does it really work? Trust me. For post-acne marks too? Of course. World's #1 anti-spot expert serum now for post-acne dark marks and age spots. Visible results in just 2 weeks. That means also for my age spots. Already worked for over 1 million women. Nivea Luminous 630. It works.
Sí, ¿vos de qué parte sos?
Yo de aquí.
Ah, mira.
¿Tú de qué parte eres?
Del norte.
Justice Wanjiko, as we keep on these submissions on the options people have for healthy lives, This court will now hear from Vitalis Ocheng from the Trust for Indigenous Culture and Health. Some people will consider herbal medicine. They may confuse it with being part of what we say uganga or witchcraft or otherwise. For the benefit of clarity, what is the difference between these? Because some people just conflate them.
Being a herbal product basically means that it's medicine that is extracted from herbs. But what people call witchcraft is what cannot be understood. And so what has happened in this sector is that there are people who have mixed those two things. There are people who have claimed to be able to treat even situations that may not be really real sicknesses. There are people who can say that they can treat lack of money, for instance, which is not really a physical illness or mental. And at the same time, they can also prescribe herbal products. So when people meet this kind of a person, then they confuse the two. They think that the same person prescribing herbal medicine is actually capable of doing those other things.
So those who have, like yourselves, who champion for these more traditional ways of treatment and medication, is it to say that you're not for modern medicine, and you're, because there's some who may argue, leave the modern medicine, just stick to the traditional ones?
Not really. Atika, what we normally say is that we don't do comparison. We don't say that going to hospital is better than doing not going to hospital, or that the traditional medicine is better than the other way, because both of them are actually doing the same thing. We also recognize the fact that many of the what we call modern medicine or drugs are actually extracted from what we call the herbal medicine. So the only difference is in terms of packaging and maybe the value addition. It's like buying a packet of flour from the supermarket, which has been processed and nicely packaged with some additional vitamins maybe, and also buying flour from a local village posho mill. So both of them are going to serve the same purpose, but only that they are processed in different ways. So we don't really say that people should only strictly use herbal products and not go to hospital.
If, say, I'm taking herbal medicine or traditional medicine, and it's not working, and I have been sold to the ideology that I should stick to traditional, would you then advise me to go to hospital?
There is no medication that gives you 100% surety. Because even in hospital, when you consult, the doctor tells you, let's try this and review after 2 weeks. So you go back to hospital so that they review whether the drug has actually helped or not. If it doesn't, they prescribe another one. The same thing happens for herbal products as well. There are times that maybe the one that has been administered does not work. But I think that also begs the question of at what point is the herbal medicine being prescribed? And we have been talking about the situation of diagnosis. When this person is prescribing herbal medicine, what diagnosis has been done so that then they are sure that that product is actually, or that medicine is actually going to treat that illness that has been identified?
What kind of certification is there? So when you have traditional or herbal healers, you may call them that, or people who give herbal medicine, what do they have such that it can, ascertain that, you're actually treating the right thing, so that I know that I'm not ingesting something that would be poisonous to me?
When it comes to certification, this is a very, it has been a very controversial topic, especially in Kenya, because of lack of a strong legal framework to regulate the sector. Because for one, you find that many traditional practitioners, for instance, practice it because it is knowledge that they acquired maybe from their forefathers or from their relatives. It could be indigenous knowledge that is within a community. That is knowledge that is not taught in school, is not acquired from school, and so there is no certificate for it. But then this is valid or useful information that can be used even for modern science to do research. Now, what has been the practice is that the Ministry of Health and also other institutions like KEMRI do provide for these herbalists to take their products for testing. So all they need is to go to the research institution and say that I have this herb, it's from this particular tree, and I use it for this kind of treatment. And these institutions are supposed to validate that this claim is actually genuine. And in that case, then they will be issued with a certificate to prove that that product is valid.
That means that potentially we have people who are taking medication that is not verified and is potentially risky to them.
I can say yes, because you see, first of all, herbal products are the most available. And if you look at, for example, WHO's report, which shows that 80% of African communities rely on traditional medicine as the first go-to. And also, if you look at it from around, you'll find that, especially for chronic illnesses, when people try hospital and they don't see any change, is when they go for the herbal products. And you know, at that point, there is some sort or level of desperation, and you know what happens when that is the case. So what really is supposed to happen in that sector is that the government should put in structures to support these practitioners, so that then they can be able to come forward with their products for value, for quality checks, for standardization, and they should feel that they're being supported. Now, when this is not happening, and I think what has been happening is that the government has been enforcing more of the restrictions, so that you find practitioners being arrested for lack of licenses, or that their products do not meet the standards, but they're not being supported to meet those standards. So then such people will try to hide behind, behind the law.
So for clarity, is it that there is no regulation covering traditional medicines, or if there is, what is the challenge?
Well, right now, the regulations that are there are actually under the Ministry of Health, and these are regulations that many practitioners, traditional medicine practitioners, have been complaining about. They say that some of the expectations are so high that they cannot be regulated the same way that the other modern medicine is being regulated. And to some extent, that is also true, and it has been acknowledged by even the Division of Traditional Medicine in the Ministry of Health. And so right now, there is a new policy that they have actually drafted, which I feel that maybe it's long overdue, that should be able to provide support to this particular sector. There is also a new bill that has been drafted, and this bill has been pending for a very long time. I think the ministry should be able to prioritize it, because then it proposes to create a council that will have representatives of these practitioners in regulating the sector.
Had it been up to you, or you, and I say you as an organization, would you have all of us moving to traditional medicines?
We take medicine even without knowing it's herbal medicine, because some of the vegetables we take, which we call indigenous vegetables, are actually medicinal. And it's only the lack of knowledge. We don't know that by the time we are eating that, we are already taking medicine itself. It's only the different forms in which it is prepared that really matters. So we cannot say that we can run away from it. The second thing that I must mention is that as an organization, we emphasize the fact that there needs to be collaboration between these two sectors. Because those who are doing modern medicine research require this knowledge of herbal products or traditional medicine to be able to further their research and also add value.
Your Honor, this court will now hear from a pharmacist on the matter before you. Just to begin with, many people tend to combine contemporary or traditional and modern medicine. Is there any risk in that?
One of the key risks of mixing the two is that most of the times when it comes to the herbal medicines, we are not too sure what is inside, what dosage is inside the medicine, how the particular components or the chemicals within the plants or the natural things that are inside the medicines will react with the normal medicine. So for example, if someone has a disease like hypertension and they're trying to bring the blood pressure down, when you combine with other chemicals, because all plants have chemicals, everything is made of chemicals, whether it's natural or not, it has some chemicals. They may interact with your current medicine and give an effect that is not desired. More especially if the medicine has not gone through a system that we consider validated. A validated system is the one that we know what is in a medicine, what are the components in it, what does it do, how does it interact, and what are the safety features of that medicine.
Is there a body that governs herbalists, and if so, which is this?
I believe now they are under the Ministry of Gender and Culture, and they are actually registered under that. But when it comes to products, and if one is going to make a claim about a particular product, whether it's herbal or whether it's conventional or whether it's contemporary, there needs to be some validation, or we have a regulator in Kenya who controls that. So if something is going to be taken and it will impact the health of a Kenyan, it needs to be validated by the Ministry of Health, and under the Ministry of Health, that's where we have the Pharmacy and Poisons Board that governs what you call health products and technologies.
Is there a risk of overdosing traditional medicine as the same way we have people who overdose, prescription medicine?
Just like the way a long time ago there were poisons, there were plants where we always told children, do not touch, do not take that plant, because in a certain form, if it's not processed the right way, it becomes poisonous. So it might not even be an overdose, it could even be just consuming something may cause an effect that is not good to the body, may cause poisoning, and it's actually very dangerous in that when we don't know what's in a product, we don't know how our bodies will react to it. So when we talk about the normal medicines that are scientifically driven, they have studied what you call surveillance. So they check the before, where they check the components that has the right active ingredients in the right amount. It has what you'd call the supporting ingredients in the right amount. And you know what it is. So if someone is allergic or if they to react to it, we know exactly what is causing certain parameters. When the product has already gotten into the market, afterwards we check in the system, or the Pharmacy and Poisons Board, or the regulator in this case, does what you call post-marketing surveillance, where they check what is the effect of a certain medicine to a certain population.
Thank you very much, Daktari, for your submissions before this honorable court. Your Honor, we will now hear the submissions of the state.
Justice Wanjiko, there have been some questions around the legality of some of the traditional medication and treatment. This court will now hear from Dr. Pamela Nambwa, who is the pharmacovigilance expert at the Pharmacy and Poisons Board.
For us at Pharmacy and Poisons Board, we are only regulating the product, which is the herbal product. When it comes to now the men and women, this is where we refer to them as practice. And practice, PPB only handles pharmacists and pharmaceutical technologists. So herbalists, as we know currently, they are being regulated under the Ministry of Culture, Gender, and that ministry that handles, I think, the issues of culture. If you find a product that PPB is not aware of, maybe a good example I would give you is the jerrycan that Maasai people keep working with in the village. So for that product, we cannot ascertain the quality, the safety, and the efficacy of that product. So it will also be difficult for us, because it is not also registered with us, for us to regulate. When we issue an alert, we also have departments here at PPB, different departments. So we have the Department of Drug, Crime and Investigation, and also the Department of Inspectorate. So what happens is the Department of Inspectorate will actually go to the areas that they have intel from Drug Crime Investigation. So the Drug Crime Investigation Department will do the investigation and find out where are these products. They will liaise with the Inspectorate Department, who will now go and enforce, basically. So if the products are in a particular area, they'll be impounded and someone taken to court. If we are to be realistic, there's a place for herbal products, even in the modern days, currently as it is. And we have quite a number of good herbal products in the market. And basically for the ones that have been registered with PPB, they have undergone the laboratory test to confirm the quality, the safety and efficacy. And the beauty of such products is that the dosage is even determined.
Nothing further from me, my lords and ladyships. I rest.
Are you sick? Did you seek medical help? Have you taken a step to watch over your health before you permanently have to take hold of your breath? And what does medication look like to you? Drugs, bitter drinks, or herbs? Wait, that sounds like I'm addressing guys in the clubs. But are you a prescription meds person, or are you the traditional description kind of person? Some will not take modern medicine. They say taking anything man-made is sin. While some are more inclined to taking herbs as opposed to stuff made in labs, others will go for urogi, uchawi, mganga tokatanga, gonga, shoka, panga, the fate of your organs, the aftermath of concussions. But you believed the slogans, or you just took shady medicine, roho juu, desperate for healing. You take it in, prescription, herbal, or whatever else, because hope is that drug that forever sells. But how informed are the masses, especially as they subject themselves to the treatment's masses? Awareness, enforcement, a lot needs to be done to leave people with hope and a happy high. News Court is done, and so am I. Still to come, when we return, we have the results of the Athletics Kenya track and field meet in Nairobi.
Welcome to the Delight Nakuru, brought to you by Username Investments. Perfect for your dream home investment for holiday home, going only for 799,000 shillings for an eighth of an acre. SMS Nakuru to 20321 or call 0725 000 222.
When you're finally released from pain. That moment when you start to get back to ordinary, and ordinary feels amazing. Whatever pain you're going through, release starts here.
There's a kind of bank assurance intermediary that really allows you to relax because you know you'll be good. That's Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary for you. Get covered real good through Coop Bank Assurance Intermediary.
He has lived in over 38 countries and known far and wide for his signature style.
I started off in Europe and Central Asia.
Yes, this week on Daring Abroad, we feature former World Bank economist Dr. David Washira and how he's changing lives through his fintech company, Wire.
As an immigrant coming to the US, one of the biggest things that you struggle with is building credit. So we're coming in and changing that particular narrative.
From Uganda, how Nyandarua-born construction expert Kirori Shege is building a name for himself in Kampala.
Here, discipline level is very high. Registering a company takes a single day.
This Saturday at 7:30 p.m. only on NTV.
Join the Optivan family today and experience the epitome of coastal living at Ocean View Ridge, Vipingo by Optivan. Call us on 0790 300 300.
Optivan, Optivan.
From news court to the courts, fields and tracks, time for NTV Sports. 22-year-old Rebecca Njeri from Central was in peerless form in the women's 10,000 meters, finishing first in a time of 34 minutes 14.29 seconds. She finished 3 seconds ahead of Monica Wanjiko Wangoi, who stopped the timer at 34 minutes 17.90 seconds. Nympha Kiteto Kivalo rounded off the podium positions in third, clocking 34 minutes 21.88 seconds. Commonwealth sprint champion Ferdinand Omanyala featured in the 200 meters race and won his heat to clocking 20.46, upstaging Samuel Wawero and Moses Mureithi. In the women's 400 meters, world 800 meters champion Mary Moraa clocked the fastest time in the qualifying rounds, finishing first in heat of 5 to reach the final. Moraa clocked 53 seconds to advance, and she will join 7 other athletes in Saturday's final at the Nyayo National Stadium.
Now the focus shifts to the 60 meters, the indoor season that we're starting next week, and then ultimately it will end in Glasgow with the World Indoor Tour, the World Indoor Championships. I've never run a 24 in January, so that means that the endurance part is coming in good. And with the weight gone down by 3 kgs, now I'm feeling comfortable running, and I'm hoping that we can build on that until the Olympics.
Olympics, medal ni 3, na kila mtu atakuwa in good shape.
So my prayer ni kumaliza in podium and medal, nita appreciate.
Defending champions Ulinzi Starlets will play TUK Ravens in the preliminary round of the 2024 FKF Women's Cup after the draw was conducted on Friday at the Kenya Institute of Special Education, KISE. A total of 22 teams participated in the draw, comprising 8 FKF Women Premier League clubs, 4 FKF Women Super League clubs, 6 Women Division 1 clubs, and 4 regional and county clubs. The first 12 teams drawn were allocated to the preliminary stage, while the remaining 10 secured an automatic entry into the round of 16. The preliminary round will also feature Nairobi Starlets, who will play Royal Starlets. Milima Queens will entertain Gospel Women. NYS Queens take on Nakuru City Queens, among other fixtures.
Will be hosting Ulinzi Starlets, the defense. Milima Queens from Bungoma.
Tuko excited to play cup. Tumekuwa kwa preliminaries na nafikiri ni poa kwetu. Tulikuwa tunataka feel from the beginning, so ni poa that tumefall kwa preliminaries.
The 2024 Mozart Bet Cup edition will take center stage this weekend with 2 matches lined up on Saturday in the preliminary round. Kenya Police will face Vegpro FC away at Longonot Horticulture Grounds in Naivasha, Nakuru County on Saturday afternoon, while Posta Rangers take on Wisdom Soccer Academy at Ndura Sports Complex in Kitale in the county of Trans Nzoia. On Sunday, FC Talanta will face Marafiki FC at Kinunga Stadium. Bungoma Stars will host Bandari at Sudi Stadium. Al Azizia will play against Luanda Villa at Kinoru Stadium in Meru County. The winners of the Mozart Bet Cup will present Kenya in the CAF Confederations Cup. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp shocked the football world on Friday by announcing he will leave the club at the end of season because he is, quote, running out of energy. Klopp, who has restored Liverpool to one of European football's powerhouses since taking over at Anfield in 2015, said the decision to leave was one he had to take. The German led Liverpool to their first league title for 30 years in 2020 and to Champions League glory in 2019.